Hi, Joe here over at Lloyd Harrowby today. I'm just having a blending day. I'm just going to wait a little bit, see if anybody pops up. I'm a little bit early, which makes a change for me. Usually I'm late. So I'm just splitting up the wheels that I'm using. I'm dyeing up. I am blending up my batty clubs so I can get them posted out tomorrow. Now, I don't think it's possible for me to actually put a screen up. Let me just see. No, don't think so. Let me just look. No, I can't. Yeah, so when this comes back up, you'll see in the thumbnail the picture that I'm doing for Batty Clubs this month. It is based on March Hair Day, official first day of spring, and it's a very arty picture, like a slight monochrome, and it's all these soft yellows, maize colours, grassy greens with a hint of black, touch of orange in there and something else, and there's hairs running across this field. There's a specific name for the style of drawing, I can't remember it. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. So you'll see it on the thumbnail, because I have saved it to the thumbnail for this chat, so you can see what colours I was inspired by for doing these batty clubs. So I've already done one. I'll just go in a second. I need to split these up first. Otherwise I'll forget what it is that I'm doing, and then I'll end up forgetting what it is that's getting blended into it. So I've got two more to make, so I thought, well, hey Mary, have you got your orders through yet? I was checking. I have emailed you, Mary. I have emailed you a couple of times. So your Easter set's on the way. I sent it. It was posted yesterday. The postman collected it. And your other order I sent the other week there. It was flying over to the States last Wednesday. So you should be just out now getting it. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm just sorting out my colours. Hello, Bridie. I did see you. I was nattering, love. I was nattering. So you can tell that, no, not yet. Yeah, the other order before, because I split your order up into two, because you ordered bats and you ordered the Easter bundle set. So the bats I sent out first, and they were dispatched as soon as literally the next day from your order. So yeah, you should, fingers crossed, get it sometime this week. I haven't seen any update from America yet for it, but I do know that it's been sent over. But it seems to be taking a while for any confirmation from orders overseas being updated on our systems here in the UK. So where am I at? That one. I need those two next. So yeah, it's March hair themed bats, and I'll show you what I've made already. On a second. Nice and bouncy. It's a main mixed blend of merino with soybean fibre, and a new one that I've managed to get a hold of from my supplier. It's called Punto Arenas. Only just joined me, but Jane overtook the loom. She loves it. We're going to have our first lesson next week, preparing a warp. Cool. I'll come back to that in a minute. Otherwise I'll lose my train of thought, Bridie. You'll know I will. I've only just turned up, Bridie, so you're fine. So this is the batty club for this month. And in my batty clubs is 150 grams of fibre, not just your standard 100 grams like you get with most clubs. I have to go one extra step, don't I? There we go. Isn't that fantastic? So it's supposed to represent a countryside hill with the rabbits running through it. No surprise, I know. So anyway, Bridie at the weekend, she messaged me on Saturday after I did my live chat. What are you doing on Sunday? It's Mother's Day. I'm like, nobody loves me. I'll be working. So she says, oh, I might come up and I'll come pop up and we'll come and get something, which was my big old London weave master loom that you've probably seen me weaving on when I did my big fabric cloth. You know, the one with the big wooden 45-ish year old loom. So Bridie's come up because Bridie's got her own wool shop, you see, as in like knitting yarns. So, and she sells crafty things and stuff like that, and she helps support local artisans and crafters, because she does little pop-up shops, especially in winter, which is always lovely to watch on Instagram to see who she's got in the shop this week. So yeah, so she popped up on Sunday. I says, well, since you're popping by, why don't you stop for your Sunday lunch? So it was roast beef all around with her and the other half. Mr. Phil was home for a change. So yeah, so we had Bridie up the other day. So that's what she's talking about. So she's just had a plate. Girls, stop being naughty. No. Do you know, these girls are a nightmare. What's on my loom now? On my carders. I've just cleaned out the bottom of my drum carder, and it's got foos all over it. It was roast beef, Yorkshire puddings. And it was one of those moments of, oh, thank God I went for a pack of 4 Yorkshire puddings and not the tiny little ones. Oh. And your other half was a man after my own heart, not liking vegetables. I'm a swine when it comes to vegetables. I'm very fussy. I'm very fussy what I like to eat. I'll tell you what I would like to try, and this is, Mary, this is where you might come in, and it's not fluff related whatsoever. I want to learn how to make cornbread, because I'm really limited as to what type of bread I can have. So if you can email me a recipe, Mary, of cornbread, as in, because is cornbread not actually using sweet corn, if I remember rightly? So if you've got a brilliant old family recipe, pass it to me so I can have a try. I've been dying to try cornbread for ages, and I don't like using the recipes online, because you're like, they're all different ones, and obviously every family's got their own way of making cornbread. So yeah, I'd love to have a go. So yeah, what was it? So Bridie's been playing on the drum carder. Have you stuck with the name Rose, or are you going with something else? It'll be swine by the end of the month, honestly. No, it won't be. Warping on a loom. You've called it Bertha. Thank you very much, Mary. You're going to send me a recipe. Oh, you're a star. You're a star. I love to try new recipes now and again, especially if it's going to benefit me. Because you guys eat cornbread with all sorts of food, don't you? Robust and buxom. It is. She is a bit of a bruiser. Very much a bit of a bruiser, and you will work out your blinking muscles in your neck as well. No, she's good for what she was. I mean, to be fair, if Debbie Tompkins loved making bread, I'm a bit of a nightmare making bread. I've tried and I've tried with all the best will of intentions. I have tried, and they always come out. I could probably build a garden wall with my bread, because it's that hard, no matter how much. You always get that hollow knock. But it's like, no, that's not supposed to sound that hollow. So it never comes like how I want it. I do need to practice a little bit more. And I have made soda bread before and created my own yeast for it. That's always quite easy to do, really good as well. Especially when things are the way they are at the moment. The price of food's gone up so much. So yeah. So she's been playing with that. She's been plinking, so she's calling it Bertha. Bertha. Why Bertha? I know you're saying big and buxom, but everyone goes with all these silly names of Bertha. See, you should have got David to name it. He'd have come up with a cool name, like Phil with my sewing machine. But I don't want that one yet. I want this one. So I'm using on this blend. I wasn't going to put you so close to the carder. Tell me off later, because it does get scratchy noises. I'm using merino with soybean in different shades of yellow, so like a maize yellow. I've got a lovely duckling yellow here, and there's another yellow around here somewhere. It's a slightly different shade, so it's a bit more of a poppy yellow. And then I've got Corridale and some more merino, and then I've got St. Mary's wool. That's a really fine wool. It's actually counted, it's got a really lovely crimp in it. I don't know if you can see that. It has got a really good crimp in it, a bit like a Shetland or a Cheviot, but it's counted as a fine wool. I've just had my lunch, so I've got the icky ups. It's counted as fine wool. I'm trying to get my thoughts together now. And it's a 24 to 26 micron count, which is really fine. It's just as fine as your usual standard cheap merino, which is roughly about, I think, £2.58 or something for 100 grams or thereabouts. So yeah, that's what I'm using today. And then I've got some fawn alpaca that I'm adding into it, because I've got all these different colours that I need to incorporate into this batt, so it looks like that one over there. And it's trying to remember which way I put it, which is always a bit fun. So I'm going to use this, which is hand dyed faux cashmere. So I'm just going to whiz that straight on that. Now I'm going to put on the fawn coloured Punto Aries, an Aries. That's it, an Aries. That's going on there now. And then I have got another bit of it here, but this is in lichen. So I don't want this too thick. I'm just going to split this in half because I want it to run over a bit of a line, so I can still see the yellow coming through, even though I'm adding on more yellow. And I'm going to go into that side and add that in there. And I'm not pulling the wool at all, I'm just guiding it along so that I get it coming in from both directions, and I'm getting the same amount of fill. You can still see all these yellowy colours coming through, and then the fawn through it as well. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit of corridor, mustard yellow. So I just want to use that to highlight, because I say when you see the picture on the thumbnail, you'll see that there's hints of yellows in there as well. And then what am I going to go with next? I have got some more faux cashmere that again has been dyed in the exact same colour. I've dyed them all in the same pot at the same time. And it's a really good way to do things. If you've got add-in fibres that you want to use in your art batt, I mean, you don't have to use them all in one go on your art batt. You can save whatever's left over and add them into a different project later on down the line. But if I want something where I want the colours to complement each other, because I know for a fact that when faux, because it's a nylon base, really, that's what it is. It is a faux cashmere or a faux mohair go through a process, and it is a nylon in the grand scheme of things, but it has the feeling, and you could spin this on its own and it will spin like a silk. It is really, really nice, really, really soft and fluffy. You wouldn't think for a second that it's a nylon. But I really, really like it. And I think because I put faux on there, I either get people that don't want the real not cashmere, because everyone wants cashmere, but it's flipping expensive. But the mohair, I always find that mohair, whenever I put it in my batt, I end up left with that for ages when I do it as a mohair, with real mohair in it. So I think when you put faux mohair, people are a little bit put off with it because they're like, oh, it's really hairy. But it's not, honestly, that is so, so soft. It's not itchy at all, and you will end up with just ever such a slight haloing from your wool when you're spinning it. So I've already put some of that on there. So where am I at next? I've done those. That was it. And I've got, because it's a field, I've found some of this earlier on. I was going to put some flax linen fibre into it, but I've got some hemp. I found some hemp, which is very much like a linen, and it doesn't affect your spin at all when you're on the spinning wheel with your fibres. It doesn't really affect it at all, and there's not enough in there to create a major impact. I'm just doing it for a bit of showing off, because I can put it in there, because I can, and I've got it. It's all there. What am I doing next? So I've got, this is a merino blend, and it's got some sari silk in there, and it's got a little dash of viscose. So on the picture it had little highlights of red, and I didn't want to put red in because I thought it would just be too much. But this has got a little bit of black sari silk, but the black sari silk we get here is mixed up with different colours. So I thought with the pink, if it's running through the meadow, then it's going to have little pink flowers in there, wild foxgloves and stuff like that. So I'm creating a story in my mind of the other colours that I could justify being in my batt. That's how I roll, and that's just tough. So there's black on the picture as well, quite a lot of black on there, so I didn't want to use a lot of it. So I've gone with a dark mallard green, and then this black, which is in a blend. I actually got it out of one of the Botany Bay bags that I order in now and again if I can't make up my mind what colours I want. So I'm just going to shove that in there. And that'll create the definition of the darker colours and the lines that are going in on the picture. And I have got, have I done all my yellows? I have. So I've got some really dark forest green, well it's actually a willow green on a little bit of merino, just so I could add another dimension into the dark. Then I've got 3 lots of darks on there. And then I have some hand-dyed Tussar silk and some Tussar silk oil. So the hand-dyed Tussar silk, I wanted to give a little bit more dimension into my colours, just something that'll pop now and again. And it's like it's supposed to be a teal, but it's come out with hints of more blues. Well, if it's a sunny meadow in the middle of spring, which should have really, technically, by now, sunny skies. And some of this Tussar silk oil, just enough to create an impact, and that's it. And it's now repeat my layers. Repeat my layers now. I'll card it in a minute once I've got this one on. So I'm just going to feed it through in the exact same way that I did it. So you've got this soft moss green on the first green layer. Then I've got this duckling yellow on my next layer. And I'm going to put my other layer on this side, and this is like a soft mustard. It's got an ever so slight green undertone in there, like you would get with mustard flowers. So that's going on that side. Oh, come on. And then the poppy yellow, or Californian poppies, or as we call them here, Welsh poppies. So stick that in there, and that just breaks up, because these two are very, very similar in tone, these two yellows. They're not quite the same, but I can vouch that they are definitely from different yellow dye pots. But I just wanted something really soft and spring-like looking in these colours together, so that when I'm adding darker dimensions, it just makes it pop a little bit more. It lifts it up a bit from the background. So I'm just going to quickly card this. Put your fingers in your ears, ladies, because it does irritate. And now I can squidge a bit of fibre back on there now. So I'm going to go with this gold yellow first and save the other one for the next layer of yellow. So I don't mind if this goes on a little bit clumpy. Sometimes it can do that when you're working with quite a wide piece of wool when you're painting it onto your drum carder. I'm going to go with the lichen green next, and I'm going to save a little bit and put my fawn alpaca on next. So what's everybody up to today? I'm going to put that on there now. That'll help trap in some of the little fibres from the alpaca, because it's quite flighty, and I've got some in my mouth already. Right, next I want this fawn colour. I'm going to put that over there. And then the green, I'm going to split this again. Yeah, I was on about the loom when you're carding. So you're going to see your friend that does weaving for, I say, a living or whatever it is. The lady I sent that naked Swede to, the nude Swede art batt the other week, is she going to show you the best ways to do warping. You can do the direct warping, it's not a problem, easy enough, or warp from your the word I'm looking for? Yeah, direct warping. So you warp through the frame and have your knobbly thing, going to see Benjamin, mum and dad, and do some cleaning. Yeah, so you've got that, or you can use a warping loom, but that, use your frame loom, your warping frame. It's good. Using the warping frame is good if you haven't got a lot of space to do warping. I don't have a lot of space to do any warping, and even if I did direct warping from a loom where it is now up against the wall, Bridie, you see the other day, I haven't really got that much space. She's going to show you different techniques. Film it for me. See if she can teach me any new ways, because I do find that I'm really limited space wise. I use my warping frame because I don't have any alternative, and I like to weave about 7 foot or 7 yards, roughly, or around about that, probably 6 yards. I'm probably thinking in feet in my head really, but when I'm warping it up, and I shouldn't really, should be thinking in 6 yards, which is roughly about 10 foot or something, I would say. So my fabrics are seriously long. But yeah, so I really only have one way of doing it, and then I braid it up once I've measured out, especially if I'm using different colours on my warping frame, and I'll measure it out, and then I'll braid it up, and then I'll do all my tie knots and all the rest of it. And sometimes it seems counterproductive to do that, and I do use a raddle on the back of my loom to help straighten out my fibres, but I do find that I seem to fanny arse around more than anything else than I do if I was direct warping. But I mean, it does the job. It's just one of those jobs that it takes you a couple of days to get your loom warped up, that's for sure. And then you've got to try and what the raddle does for me as well is when I am winding it back onto the back beam, it helps keep a bit of a tension for me because the elastic band's on the raddle. It helps keep a bit of tension for me because obviously I'm warping it up on my own. So yeah, I mean it's 6.5 a dozen. I mean, everyone's got their own ways of doing things. I do wish I had the entire upstairs. She mentioned fitting a raddle. Yeah, the raddle, I nearly gave it to you the other day. I was like, no, it's expensive. The raddle is... Oh, hold a sec. Come on, girls, out my way. Is this. So a raddle is this bit of equipment. You could quite easily make your own, but this is an Ashford, and this I think is the longest one you can get. So this one was still a little bit fit right over what you're calling Bertha. Yeah, I taught. See, I wish I had tutors, but I don't. I've had to sort of muddle along as I go along. Me, I'll go and find the odd video that's useful. Otherwise, I just teach myself. But yeah, you've got the Ashford raddle. There are other tools that you can use. Warping sticks, so you put your two sticks together, and it helps just keep a bit of a tension in there, especially if you do it yourself. And that comes with supposed to be 2 of these loops. The other one's hidden downstairs somewhere in a bowl. And then you've got these nylon stretchy cords that wrap it into place, and then you create some sort of weaving thing, which I can't quite get the knack of that. So I just do it the way that I do it, and it works. It works. As you say, you're lucky. You've got people that can help you out and teach you these things. I don't. So I've had to muddle through it myself and figure it out myself, and actually read books to figure out what it is that I'm either doing wrong or I could do a little bit to make my life a bit easier. Right, so where am I at next? So I'm going to add in this mallard and black next onto this. I think this is the second layer. I'm only on the second layer. It's never taken me so long to do a batty clubbing ever. Right, what else do I want? I want a little bit. Am I on this one next? No, I'm on this one. I need some of this yellow. I'm going to save the bigger piece for last. I'm just going to wrap that round to my hand because I've got quite a bit of it, and then I'll loosen it off. There we go. Now that I've lost a bit, and put that on there. What else are we on next? Oh, a little bit of gold bamboo, just for a little bit of extra pop and a bit of highlight. And then I'm going to add in my flax, my hemp. Hemp's a little bit softer than flax is, initially to use anyway. Where are we at next? I think a bit of this just a silk, and then I will use this piece of faux mohair on there next. There we go, and then I have this skinny bit of willow green to add in. There we go. Yeah, I have got more of that, so I'll dash of this. And my mulberry silk oil. There we go. So that's that in there. Right, and this is the last row now. Last one. So back with the moss puntenaries on there, the Chilean wool, very fine, but there's such an amazing crimp to it. There's a crimp on that, even though as I say it's as fine as your standard merino, a 23 I think, or 24 to 26 micron count, but it's got a really gorgeous little crimp in it. I haven't had a chance to spin it up myself yet. I'm sure I ordered some in my last stock order last week. I'll have to get a little sample out and have a spin of it, but I think it's one of those wools that I'll quite happily keep for myself. But it does feel, it's got that crimp in it where it feels as if it's slightly warmer to wear as a winter garment than a merino, because like that merino's got that fine feeling to it. But I think the Chilean wool would definitely have a different way of capturing the warmth, and you could probably knit it a little bit differently as well, as in more of an autumn or spring wear jumper, rather than, for the Americans out there, a jumper is a sweater to use, guys. Yeah, we call them jumpers because obviously named after woolly jumpers, which is obvious because sheep jump everywhere. Because everyone's a sweater, we don't get the opportunity to sweat in anything in our country. They're called a pullover because you pull it over your head, or it's called a jumper because it's a woolly jumper. A nickname for the sheep. But my dad always called them woolly dogs. Oh, it's a woolly dog in the field. For years as a kid growing up, I thought sheep were called woolly dogs. So I've just, what did I do? Oh, do you know, listing all my curly locks yesterday on the website, and then put them on Instagram. They were practically all sold by yesterday afternoon. Jess actually bought the entire listings of 3 of my new locks yesterday. So I had to get in touch with Hayley Steele, my fluff dealer, for her gorgeous blue faced Leicester locks. So she's posted another set of fleece out for me today, because that one I had about it. Just before Christmas I ordered that off of her. So I was due an order again anyway. So I've just ordered that off of her as well. So I will have some more locks coming next week. Not sure if I'm going to do any bats. I haven't made up my mind. I might dye some rovings, and then if the rovings don't sell next week, then I'll blend them up into bats the following week. Because I've got loads of bats up there. I can barely get any more on the shelf, to be fair. So I need to sell a couple of those before I can actually get any more bats done to justify it. The locks were beautiful. They were really nice. I had Liz on the phone yesterday messaging me. Oh, I like that set. I says, oh, what weight do you want? She goes, I really don't need any more locks. So I sent her 800 grams of locks the other week. She goes, I really don't need any more, but I like them. So I was like, right, I'll get them in the post. She know, more money. I said, I thought that Jess would have saved you a fortune by ordering all that lot. But no, she's ordered more. So it'll be fun to see what Jess comes out with at Weaver Eye over the next couple of weeks with her weaving, if she's using those locks in there that I've sent her. post and pick them up this morning. Yeah, it'll be on you to see what she comes up with. Quite magical, especially the pink ones. Right, nearly done. I've got one more of these to do yet. So yeah, my intentions for next week, I'm thinking I'm going to dye up some really lovely, very similar to the bats that I listed at the weekend. And I was thinking, because it just inspired me so much, the Sensi and Sensi, Buds of May, and what's the other one? I can't think. Maybe Cherry Blossom. See how much wool I've got. And the Essential Pearl. I'm going to dye them up into yarns tomorrow. Feels on a weird shift tomorrow. So I thought, well, I'll dye up some new yarns tomorrow and put them on the shop on Monday. Do some rovings in the similar colours because I just really, really love them. And then if they don't sell, I'll just use them myself. And not just that, I can actually stylise them slightly different in my blending in comparison to what I made last week. Just think they look really nice and could probably do with having an opportunity to sell them as rovings. The Cherry Blossom and the Pearl, yeah, that Essential Pearl is still sat on my shelf. Nobody's bought any bats this week, so they're all sat there. So yeah, I think I'll do some rovings of those, at least those 4. And I might use the same sort of colour palette for dyeing up some yarns because I've got the Merino worsted 4-ply and I've got the Superwash Merino with nylon. So I think that's what I'll do for next week. And I want to cut up some fabric for making some more power chip bags over the next couple of days, and I can hopefully print them off. I wish I could just print them off, sew them up over the weekend. Try not to give myself far too much today, otherwise I'll never get anything else done. The printing machine's on a blinking, it's not stopped. Thank God I've got solar panels. Yeah, so I've just had an order in for, I just posted a listing for the accessory set that I was commissioned to do, which I was actually going to do anyway for the website, but before I've had a chance to actually print any off to do on the website, they've ended up now just being commissioned to order. So I think I'll take some pictures of them and just put on the website that these are custom orders only and you've got X, Y and Z colours to choose from, and then I'll just print them up as I go instead of printing them up, because it takes, to do the electric wheel 6.0, to do the full set of that, the orifice reducer, the tension switch, the flyer arm caps and 6 flyer hooks for like the larger hooks, it takes like 10.5 hours to print that off. So it's definitely worthwhile for me to do it as a custom order more than it's done on the shop. And it's storage as well. It's the amount of storage that I've got, and I haven't got much. I'm gonna have to buy myself some more boxes. Buy myself some more boxes and I can fit more stuff in and hide it better. Right, this is nearly done. That one, and then more of this willow green just to create those darker colours. I wish I could put pictures on here like I do when I'm on Instagram. And then that and that left over. So some yellow bamboo and card this. Some of this hand dyed tissue silk, and the last of my mulberry silk noil, or tissue silk noil. They look the same, to be fair. And that's that done. Right. Take this off. I'll get in there on the groove. Right. roly-poly it over the drum card up. These flaming buttons, every time I look at these buttons they fall off. Right, so that is done. I'll just put that out of the way. Blend that lot up in a minute. So that's what it looks like before I fluff it out. Give it a bit of a whiff. Fold it over. And that is another Batty Club March in the March hair theme art bat. So that, and this month I even got myself one because I love hairs. We get hairs and we see them, they'll turn up, so get them on the field at the back. So with the hair theme and March in mind, I ordered these. They're little Celtic. It's really hard to get it to focus. It might be my light actually. Hold on a minute, there we go. It's actually a little Celtic hair badge, pin, button, whatever you want to call it. Oh, that's really hard to get that to focus. So yeah, that's what goes in it this month. There's a little badge. Every month I add something in from somebody. Where's that from? It is from a company on Etsy that I find. I always try and use UK suppliers. It's One Batt's Pins badges at co.uk, and I've got a 10% discount code, so I might have to get something else and save it for another Batty Club in a couple of months time. So yeah, that's what's in there. So I got myself one, and they're just really sweet. Something a little bit different instead of stitch markers all the time. Let me see if I put it on my scarf. Let's see if that works, where you can actually see it properly. No, you can't. That's next. Joe, you're next to blinking useless, woman. Honestly, no, can't see it properly. It's these. I've got a glaring light because the sun's out over there, and then I need to have the light on above me because then you can't see anything because it's black as hell's dim down here, or up here at night in this corner. It's really dark over this corner. I could really do with a gigantic window right here, but I'm not a millionaire, so I can't have one. So yeah, that is Batty Clubs, and then your cup of tea and your sweetie goes in that. So they're only £21.50 for my Batty Clubs, and that's with the postage included as well for 150 grams, a gift, a drink and a sweetie. And then every so often I'll add in something a little bit extra, and then once it's time for the new theme for New Year, which is usually in August, is when I do change all my themes. I always add in a little extra thank you gift in there as well, especially if people have paid for a year's subscription, or 6 months actually. I have never had anyone pay for an entire year's subscription with Batty Clubs, but I do have my regulars that pay for their 6 months up front because they get one free bat in with that. So what am I going to get up to next? I don't even know what time it is. I have no idea what time it is. I can't remember. It must be about 1 o'clock. So what shall I do next? I need to do spinning. I need to do some spinning. I need to get that done. I need to get some weaving done, and I have got leftover sets from the Easter bundles. I've got them left, but I've got to print off the bowls of those, and I don't want to put them on the website until everyone's got their Easter bundles, which means I've got to wait for Mary to let me know when she's received hers before I can put it on the website to sell. So yeah, it'll probably be my birthday by the time Mary gets her flaming order at this rate. So I think that's about it. Let's go on over, pop over onto my chair. Gotta go. See you later, Bridie. You go and deal with those busy customers. Doggies. Doggies. So what have I been doing? Iona, you're a menace. I have been weaving. See if I don't think, I might be able to. I've been weaving this last week when I've actually had a chance. I managed to weave about half of my warp in about 3 or 4 days. It took me about 3 or 4 days just to get it all set up anyway. But I've just not had a chance to do any more since. I just haven't had a second. Been doing all the batty clubs and getting my Easter bundles sorted out. And what else have I been up to? No, I can't put them on the website, Mary, because then you'll see what you've got. Well, nobody will get the extras that are in there. They're unique to the Easter bundles. That's the whole point of them. But I do have, because I obviously overestimated my dye, which is not a problem because I'd rather have too much than not enough. So the way the numbers worked out, I ended up with 2 sets of 10 days of Easter fluff. So I thought, well, what I'll do is, I can't even, yes I can, Joe. Yeah, 2 times 10 days worth of extra fluff, including the 10-day 1050 gram batts, which is absolutely gorgeous. It is really, really nice. So I filmed it all. So as soon as you guys get those, then I can release the film for putting it together. Which is what I usually do anyway, but I don't normally try and do that until I know everyone's got their stuff, you see, because it's just not fair. It's not fair to let everyone else see what you've got and you've not even had it yet in the post. So yeah, day 10, the 50 gram one is my favourite one. It's really, really sweet. And there's a couple other little ones in there that are my favourite as well. Well, not my favourite, but they are really nice, quite pretty. Right up my street anyway. So yeah, when I do those sets, they'll be going on with either a niddy noddy and a yarn bowl, the 3D printed ones, or they'll go on with a yarn bowl and my dizzies, my 3D printed yarn diz. Hello from Texas, USA. I'm new spinner and you love my channel. Thanks so much what you do, and I'm looking forward to. You're more than welcome, dear. You just missed me. I've just been. This will turn back up tomorrow because it's my live chat. It usually drops back in so you can watch it tomorrow morning. It takes about 12 hours or something for YouTube to do its thing and upload stuff. But you are more than welcome. Hello, good afternoon from the UK. And this lunatic woman. So yeah, I've been printing off 3D printed stuff. Finally got my 3D printer up and running after me spending 36 flaming quid on a new thermal coupler that I didn't actually need to replace. So yeah, so I've been doing all these girls are driving me potty. We used to go lie down before I bounce your backsides. 3D printed iridescent niddy noddies. These ones are just little yard ones. This is for a commission. So those ones. And then these are for the, it's on the front of it here. These are for my Dreaming Robots 6.0. So that is an orifice reducer. Look at that. It looks like an old clear LP, an old record. That's what it made me think of when I was putting it on there. You know when your favourite group would do a release and they do special edition record, special edition LP, and it would always be like translucent with their photo printed into the inside of it. Well, that's what that made me think of. So yeah, that is my orifice reducer. It is a little bit, they are a little bit snug, is probably the word I'm looking for. So you do need 2 hands to get it out there. But I would rather be snug than not loose enough. So you literally just goes in to your orifice on the 6.0 and you just squidge it in like that. And that's it, done. There's your orifice reducer. So I've been printing them off, but I'm doing them as sets. And then the larger flyers, I've been using these for quite a while now anyway, myself, before I put any on the shop. So I've got that. And then the tension knob as well. did I not? I was in the middle of sanding one down for myself. Where is it? This is the little tension knob that sits for your tension band over the back of your flyer or your back of your bobbin. So you literally have to take the screw out the back of the frame, and then the cord, you wrap it around inside and tie a really decent knot in it so it doesn't move, but it's rigid anyway, it's got ridges on it, so it grips it anyway. And that's exactly how it is on the original knob. And then you just put that back in the same position and then screw it in. Bob's your auntie. And then what other colour have I got? These are the ones I printed off at the moment. And then there's got this lovely iridescent, I think it's red, orange and green that's in with this one. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been playing instead of, well, no, I haven't been playing. I've been doing bits and pieces behind the scenes, and this printer's never been off. It's on constantly at the moment, the last couple of days. I'm just printing loads of stuff out, and I've just had another order. So before I can even get these 6.0 kit set, like these tart me up electric wheeled spinning accessories, I can't do any until people stop asking me to do them. So I keep going to print them off for the shop, and I was like, oh, can I have one of those? I want one of those. Can I have it in this colour? I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, so I'm doing those. I am trying my damnedest. So now I've got a niddy noddy that I've got to get printed off, and I've got this 6.0 set that I've got to get print off, and I've got to print off a yarn bow, and I've still got to print off at least 4 brand new niddy noddies of each colour just to go on the website, and then I can say on it, once I've got the photos done, that these are pre-orders, in the sense of it takes me, say, 24 hours to get them printed off, depending on the time of my printer. I've only got one printer. I haven't given it a name. It's usually called Git. It doesn't do as it's told. It does what it wants when it wants, like a typical man. So it's definitely a man. And my loom's been given a name. I've called it Gilly. So my new loom has been called Gilly. So yeah, that's that. I need a drink. I've got fluff in my mouth. Scardy, go lie down, love. Just about to start chucking it down again. And the man will be home in a bit. His Lego fund's about 200 quid lighter because he's had to pay for MOT because the car failed yesterday. So that was quite entertaining. But at least I don't have to part with any of my pennies. I need to order some more filament because I'm running out of the stuff that I've already got, because everyone keeps asking me to do stuff for them. And yeah, and I need to do a stock order, and I need to order some new dies. So I'm going to go off and do that now. Thank you ever so much for supporting me. I have been on it 48 minutes. It took me forever to do that batt then. I've got the other one to do, and they'll get posted tomorrow with the little wild hair badges. So again, as usual, thank you ever so much for your support. I really have been enjoying the comments that I've been getting. And while we're on the subject of back to basics, these are what the videos I've been getting comments on, which is really, really great. I really do appreciate the comments. It really does help YouTube's algorithms actually spot that I'm being, people are leaving comments that I'm liking. And it does really help, because even when I go for it, if Phil goes for a search for my channel, he says that I'm coming up quite top on the listings now, which is brilliant. And my blending board video from a year ago, the one that everyone discovered me on, has gone viral. Honest to goodness. I only, what was it, yesterday I checked, and 3.6 thousand views have been on that, with I think it's 197 likes on my blending board video from last January. It's unreal. It's insane. So on that note, what are you eating? What are you eating? Fabric. So on that note, I thought, has anybody seen my, and if you haven't, I will find a link for it and I will put it in this tomorrow when it comes back up live, my storyteller batts that I did last year. It was a little mess around with colours, and I blended up 3 batts inspired from 3 images that had very similar colourways, but they were blended in a different way so they would complement each other. So I've been playing with the idea. It's just a bit of a break in between the back to basics, but then I suppose it will be a running theme anyway, because I've been doing the blending boards on my live chats, and maybe I need to throw in a little blending board video, but do something similar to the storyteller batts. And suggestions from you guys. Would you want it to be mini batts on a blending board or Rolags on a blending board done as the storyteller theme? So I would literally go find 3 different pictures that would complement each other, 3 images, and then you can see how I put the colours together on my blending board if I want something, a very colour picture to inspire me. Okay, so yeah, so leave comments down here when this comes back up. I'd really appreciate that for any ideas, because at the end of the day, I'm doing these videos for you guys. I'm not being paid for anything. I'm doing it from all my own stock, and I would rather do something that you guys are going to benefit from or might actually enjoy, rather than something I'm thinking, oh, I'll do that or I'll do that, and it might not be what you guys are looking for, but it will be part of the Back to Basics themes, because once we've got past this Rolags, Mary, okay, or rollers, rollers, if the theme I'm doing at the moment, just doing next week will be 3-ply the traditional way, and then the week after I was going to do chain plying. And before I went any further with any type of other spinning, I was going to do a couple of little videos on maintaining your drum carder and your blending board, talking about those sort of things and different suppliers, the tools to use, and then do some blending videos of those, like 2 maybe for the month of April. And I think that might work out right, because I've still got 2 weeks left, so I'll probably fit 2 videos of the spinning theme in the month of March. So I think I'll start expanding into Back to Basics blending in the April video. Oh God, you know, delivery trucks, honestly, Juicens have just turned up for next door. Or this will be holy moly again as well. They turned up yesterday, must have been about 20 tons of sand in dumpy bags. And the next door neighbours, they've not turned up yet, but the builders have been in there and they just left everything all sat out in the front, and the guy had to dump all these ton bag weights of sand on top of all the rubbish and rubble because they hadn't moved anything to tidy it up. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to go off to have a nosy, because that's what I like to do. I'm not keyboard warrior, I'm a curtain switcher, and I'm proud of it. Right, everybody, thank you ever so much for watching me. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you don't already. Always do videos, and I'm always open to suggestions for anything that you would like me to touch, to explain, or to maybe go and investigate and learn myself as well, and then I can help you guys out. Thanks very much. Bye. Long Mary, I know, I am. I'm not shy. If you can't be good, be careful and don't get caught.